This is the special episode of Kerbal Engineering, celebrating 2,000 subscribers. Today we will be making a huge ship that will be assembled in the orbit, the IP Duna Colonizer Mark I. This is what it looks like. This episode will actually consist of 2 episodes, each of them lasting roughly 1 hour, and the purpose is to design, engineer, propose and assemble fully interplanetary craft that will be later broken into small pieces, launched into orbit, and then hopefully successfully launched to Duna. The mission for this craft is to transport a big part of the Duna orbital station, the final one that we actually need for it to be almost self-sufficient. And it will do so and also launch several more things. So first I'm assembling the nose, and that one I want to be designed also to be reused as a small tug. So now you're looking at me kind of fiddling a little bit with RCS build aid, trying to find what would be the best solution for this guy, just to use RCS thrusters, a little bit of, delta V, a little bit of, engine stuff, etc., and to be able to act as a tug to manipulate other parts of the station. So, yeah, and it will also be like a main cockpit for the interplanetary vessel as well. Then we're attaching the senior docking ports, to which we would be connecting our station, and we want this station to also be remote tech controllable. So I'm actually adding a remote probe core, the one that I can actually utilize to control the ship, and I want to be putting now the station parts. So here we have the power distribution unit. It's a mod from Rover Dude, from the colonization, UKS MKS I believe, or OKS UKS, colonization, and the cockpit is a part from the OPT, Orbital Portal Technologies spaceplane parts. Okay, so we have put this, and we are putting inflatable storage module, Kerbitat, and we want to use oxygen, water, and food so that it can actually store the products that we need actually for life support. Then we want to put the Kerbitat, and then we want to put a little bit more life support, just to last us enough for the trip to Duna. Logistics hub. Ooh, that one is huge. No, I won't be taking that one. Nuclear fuel drum. Then the habitation ring. And I'm just a little bit playing and trying to see what would be looking the best, and maybe this would be the winning setup, I guess. Could be. Okay, so this would be the station, so I want to put some RTGs also on the tug section of the station. So here, depleted nuclear fuels, okay, and let's see. I want to put here also the decouplers, and on these decouplers I intend to put, a reserve transfer stage, call it if you will. And I'm trying to find if I can put something like this, but these are all adapters and not something that I'm looking for. So I'm thinking to put radial decouplers, and then on top I'll be putting some engines. So small octagonal strut, the king of all construction, I guess. And let's now just turn it, and perfect. So once we would be basically staging this, we would be getting rid of these engines. And this is SRB strut, or hold on. So fuel tank, sure. Something like that. Strut it together. Okay, then we want the fuel line to be going from the forward tank into the side tanks, hopefully. Then let's put the... So this is the station part complete now that we want to take. And now it's time to assemble the drive section at the back. So adapter, let's put it a little bit more forward, shall we? Ooh, this is huge. I am planning to use nuclear fuel for the drive section, but this doesn't look very nice now, does it? We have to find another way to put it to the right form factor. So this definitely LM3 standard adapter isn't the correct way to go. Let's see if we can find another one. Hold on. And here I also want to be putting... Let me just see. I want to be also putting this station component where I could actually have a docking port and docking ships too. So yeah, I do want to have this actually loaded with docking ports as well. So let's once again strut these. Let's put the docking ports then on all 4 pieces. Here I want to be putting some life support supplies as well, bottom as well, and then the docking port. I mean, it's a convenient way to making it a little bit stick out actually. Perfect. And I'm actually thinking I might prolong these engines now that the whole ship is becoming a little bit longer. Yeah, something along those lines. And then strut them here. And then... this looks more like it. I'm now looking for some good adapter for the rear drive section, I guess. And I'm once again trying to fiddle with that one. No, I don't really like it. I was first thinking with adapters, then I remembered, hold on. There are adapters in, I think, a fuel tank section. So why not also use this adapter as a fuel tank? So here. Yeah. And it's KW Rocketry that has the beautiful one. So let's see. Whoa, much better. Okay, so 2.5 to 5 meters, that's just right. Okay, let's now put the big fuel tank. Much better. Oh dear, no, this is just butt ugly. Okay, I guess we'll have to contend with what we have. I think it's too big. So, yeah. How much delta V would it grant us? Okay, 3,700? No, hold on. Yeah, let's put the regular nose cone. Not the SRB one. Obviously, because then we want to put some more command and control, so an SAS unit as well. And then, so we have the forward section, the station section, and the drive section. Okay, then we do need also some, we need basically some transfer vehicles. So once this bad boy arrives to Duna, it will be remaining there. So, and we will be making 1 or 2 SSTOs, or, well, space planes that would be doing such missions, and we want to put some rovers as well, because rovers will be used to scout on Duna for an ideal base location. So yes, we will be making a base also on Duna. So, but currently I'm mainly focusing on this ship to make sure that it has everything that it needs to have, and we want to have the solar panels, and had a good experience previously with Megalodors, so we'll be putting Megalodors here for sure. Perfect. They should be providing more than enough energy to propel this bad boy. So some burner engines, and you will notice that I have turned on my RCS build aid because I do want the craft to be able to translate and basically rotate and do all sorts of orbital maneuvers. So it is important that this craft is somewhat, well, not nimble, but at least that it doesn't move like an aircraft carrier, I guess. So yeah, because we will be rendezvousing with that craft and the Duna orbital station. So yeah. So okay, let's put just some more RCS fuel because I don't have a feeling we have enough. It's a big craft, lots of thrusters, and the fuel will be consumed quickly. So okay, let's put now some antennas. And for Duna, we don't need that strong antennas. We can easily get away with just Communitron 88s. So I'm thinking to putting like them over there, and maybe a Communitron 32 over here, so that just we are able to communicate and control this ship even remotely if we need to. Okay, a little bit of redundancy cannot hurt, especially given this monstrosity. Okay, so strutting the Kerbitat, and what else do we need? Okay, now I'm actually trying to balance out with RCS thrusters even this portion of the craft, because this is the portion that will actually be doing the docking, so, or the rendezvous. So when we get to Duna, when we get close enough, we will discard this big drive section and we will be just docking this smaller version of the craft to the actual station. So I've now thankfully used the simulation that we have to see what the craft will look like, and also to test a little bit its features. So yeah, this is a simulation with Jeb, Bill and Bob actually doing, and the craft seems pretty nimble. Great. That means we can actually turn on the lights, make a nice beauty shot. Perfect. And the thrusters seem to be working nicely, all three of them. Maybe not ideal to be thrusting at your solar panels, but this is a simulation anyway, so I think I can get away with it. Okay, retracting the panels, and yeah. Screenshot, okay. So let's just see how well it maneuvers. Let's stage these boosters, and yes. Well, overall I'm happy. I didn't expect to be thrusting that hard anyway. Okay, so, perfect. What we do need to think is maybe to move these rockets a little bit further out, and for that we're gonna use separatrons. So 2 separatrons on each side, very weak forces. We don't really need much thrust, but we just need them to get these engines far enough out of reach of the main craft. Okay, let's have another short simulation. This actually, I really like this feature of the Kerbal construction time, that it can actually do these big simulations. And that you actually need to first come into the orbit of a planet to be able to make these simulations. It makes sense. Okay. So now I'm just putting them in the same stage. And let's see. Much better. And we can now safely continue thrusting. This is exactly what we wanted. Perfect. So now we're reverting back to editor, and I want to be making SSTOs. At first I was thinking to put dual SSTOs which are identical, and here you can see me constructing that SSTO, and this is the SSTO that will not be capable of going from Kerbin to orbit, but this is more of an SSTO that's specialized for operations on Duna. So its mission will be ferrying passengers to Duna and to Duna Station. So also doing some exploration, some science experiments, and hopefully, flying and scouting the rough location where we will be landing our rovers, and then using rovers to bookmark sort of the location that we want for our base. So yeah, this is the Duna plane Mark 1. I'm later probably gonna name this one Discovery. So this is the one that will be doing the scouting. So yeah, nothing really special. You've seen me design this type of craft before. So I'm just making sure that I load it with as many of the new experiments that I have. So maybe its nose will not be the most pretty, but then again, I really don't care. All I care is cramming as many experiments in it as I humanly can. So, or Kerbally can. Anyway, so that's kind of the idea. The more, the merrier. So, some miniaturized science base, mystery goose and stuff. Because if I recall correctly, Jeb, when he was last time, he only had a limited amount of material base and mystery goose. So, we can actually cram a little bit more of those in this way. Perfect. So, let's put roundified monoprop tanks. We do need some monoprop, I guess. I was thinking something like along those lines. Perhaps, yeah, why not? Cool, and what else do we need? What am I forgetting? Ah, yes. Let's move these two guys away, and let's put the Kerbal attachment system in. Smaller container, like this one, and we do want to be putting... Let's see... cubic octagonal struts, few of them, and obviously when it comes to fuel we want to be putting the pipe endpoints, 2 of them to be exact, to be able to refuel this one. It has a docking port, but I don't expect my every station to have a docking port, so this is just more flexible way of refueling. Okay, perfect. Now, where were my monoprop tanks? Let's put this roundified. I think that should be fine. Or actually, I could put these guys somewhere higher up, and then put this roundified monoprop tanks on actually the rear panel. I think that would be nicer. Oh yes, this looks much better. And put some lights, close the bay, and time to design the wings, I guess. For that I'm using my favorite mod, the procedural wings. Creating a nice single piece delta wing. I just love that design. Perfect. just matching taper ratio, creating the winglets for the wings, I guess. Flipping them to actually be more of a vertical stabilizers. Perfect. Center of lift, center of mass. Oh, actually it's not perfect because the center of lift was in front of a center of mass. Well, I have a feeling that these control surfaces will fix that. There are also procedurals, so just might as well. And I'm deliberately having a slight angle on the rear wings because it gives it more of an, a sci-fi or advanced look. I don't really want them to be point out flat. Okay, perfect. So just now adjusting the root and tip thickness so it looks kinda nice. Okay, and I'm trying to find the rear stabilizers, I guess. Looks good enough. Okay. What's the delta V on you? 2000, and yeah, I think that should be enough at least to get to orbit and back, and I guess do some this is a little bit too big. Advanced canards, maybe? Something along those lines. And center of mass, center of lift are actually quite near each other, which I think is kinda good. Putting more stuff forward, Mark II cockpit, sure, let's flip it around, and time to put the landing wheels. Perfect. So basically this is like when we're deciding, and these SSTO and its sister ship, or sister craft, will be transferred on the big colonization Mark I ship. So they will be ferried along. So we have to keep that in mind when designing this, to have some attachment points as well. So that's kind of the idea. By the way, I mean, this is really my first huge in-orbit assembled interplanetary ship. Many of you that know me know that I'm a big fan of flotillas normally, because they're simple to get to their designated orbital bodies, and they're just basically simpler to fly. But I wanted really to do something cool and something new, because we are celebrating 2,000 subscribers. So thank you very much for your subscriptions, guys. They do mean a lot. Since I never made, I believe, the special episode for the 1,000 subscribers, I wanted to do something special now for 2. And there will be a total of 2 episodes regarding this Kerbal engineering episode. The first of the 2 episodes will be creating and assembling this big interplanetary craft, and the second part will be breaking it into the components that will be taken into orbit and assembled there. Okay, so that being said, now we have finally assembled our craft, so we might as well do some testing with it. So, since we have already been in the orbit around Duna, we can actually test the craft in the orbit around Duna, for which it's intended, to see how it flies. Periapsis has been lowered enough. It looks quite nimble and controllable. Pulling up the air brakes, and let us just glide in towards Duna's atmosphere. And Duna atmosphere is pretty thin anyway, so even once we get into the Duna's atmosphere, we will still need to keep in mind that it's much thinner than Kerbal. Oh, and look, there was one of the former landing sites below. I wonder if it was the good one or the bad one. Okay, going to around 26,000 6,000 meters. And by the way, while I'm flying this, I'm also trying to establish how do you really fly an SSTO on Duna. I've never done this before, so this is very new to me. So don't judge me if I accidentally do something stupid. Okay, flying with the air brakes fully open because we do want to decelerate, and we are still going 735 meters per second. So, yeah. Descending ever so slowly. Let's pull a little bit of time acceleration. And seems that the snow or the dust storm is following us. Anyway, we are now at 5,000 meters. And it's actually 1,000 meters above sea level, so we have to be careful, but the terrain looks kind of bumpy, so I am slightly concerned. Nevertheless, we need to find a way how we can land on this sucker. And well, let's just say that I'm thankful that this is a simulation. It was a real Kerbal landing, right on the nose. I believe I have lost control towards the end of the descent, and that was the issue. So, let's see how we will attach this bad boy to the interplanetary craft. I don't think I will be modifying it to a great deal. I think it does its purpose well. I'll just have to be more careful in terms of finding a good landing site. Now, since we want to attach it radially to that ship, to the big transfer ship, we need to do some trickery. And that is basically, I'm just now also, while I'm here, I'm fixing my ladders. Yeah, those that know me know I have a history of SSTOs and ladders. I really suck at making them. Not the SSTOs, those I can find my way around, but the ladders for SSTOs, man, I'm just terrible at that. Okay, let's just see if I have put the ladder in the correct location, and come on, looks kinda good. And I'm now just putting something along these lines because I still want to be able to mount. Okay, looks good. Perfect. Now let's simulate the vessel once more. And the main point of the simulation was actually to see if the ladders work. As you can see, my ladder designs are just functioning flawlessly as ever. Pun intended. So let's see if we can get up. Yes, we can. Well, honestly, that's all I care about. So let's call this a successful experiment. Just checking its thrust to weight, 0.64. Well, it is decent enough even to take off from Kerbal, but then the delta V on Kerbal is not really stellar. Let's just test the landing on a more flat surface than Duna. And yeah, it works. Okay, so it is pretty decently balanced. Okay, now we have to... Whoa. Weird. Anyway, now we have to find a way to attach this bad boy to the interplanetary vessel. So, I'm actually thinking that I will attach it radially using the docking port, but I couldn't use the Mark II docking port that I was hoping to use, but instead I will be having to put some other docking port radially somehow. So that's when I remembered, undo, that I could put the docking port at the belly of this beast. So first, let's close off the wheels and let's see if we can do something like, where is that radial attachment point that I'm looking for? I found that piece of kit to be highly useful. I was first thinking maybe like this, like a structural pylon, but not really. So the one that I'm actually looking for is the radial attach. Come on, where are you? Maybe something like that. Can I actually define that this is like being attached using this or not? And then put the pylon on. Okay. So, can I attach it via this? No, I don't think so. Beautiful. Okay, I think maybe we will need to go with a standard docking port, I guess. No, this is the structural panel adapter, it's not that one. Man, I'm always having a hard time finding that radial attachment port. Ah, there you are. So, this is the guy that I was looking for. And I want to be putting it straight at the center, above the center of mass, because then it will be much easier to actually attach and fly the ship. So now let's say this is the spaceplane Duna Mark 1B. So that is the one that is supposed to be radially attachable using this docking port. That's good enough, I guess. Okay, and coming back to the interplanetary craft, let's just see how will we exactly attach it. So the idea is, or was, that we put like some sort of detachment manifold or radial, more radial decouplers. But for some reason it simply wouldn't fly, so yeah. Let's see if putting it like this and then putting an SSTO on top of it would work. It would, but it kind of fumbles my approach. But then again, why don't I just put it on the docking port? And the docking port I can actually easily extend, so, or undock, so. Okay, anyway, that's the idea that I was having in mind. So yeah, attaching SSTO radially to these docking ports. Both of them. Okay, first one docked successfully, and the second one also docked successfully. So yeah, this is what it's supposed to be looking like. While I'm here, I might as well strut this bad boy. Clearly, when I will be assembling this ship into orbit, I don't know yet if I'm gonna launch it like this together with SSTOs or not. So I guess it's a little bit of a tricky question. So let's figure that one out at a later stage, shall we? So strutting these guys to the main craft, and ultimately we will have to do that in orbit. We do have the Kerbal attachment system and we do have the struts. mounted on each plane as supplies, so we would be definitely able to do so. So but for the time being, we're just now designing the finished craft to see how much delta V and all that stuff and thrust weight it has, so that we know what we are dealing against. Once again, in orbit test, and I don't need to actually go to Duna, this is more like just to see how it behaves on the exit trajectory out of the Kerbal system. So okay, looks kinda nice. Wow, what a beautiful shot of Kerbal. I really love this view, I really love this game, it's awesome. Okay. Turning it a little bit, doing some more testing to see if it will be working correctly. Let's take this opportunity while we're at the sunny side for maybe a good screenshot, if we can. Yeah, I'm just fiddling a little bit with the orbit, and let's see if we can fiddle with the camera, take a nice angle shot. Perfect. Beautiful. So beautiful. I think this will be probably the screenshot for today's episode or something. Or actually, I already have the blueprints, so maybe I'll actually go with that one rather. After all, it is a Kerbal engineering. So, the SSTOs, I consider them done. So the next thing to create is actually the rover. And I will be also doing 2 rovers. And I have designed, I'm pretty much always using the same design because they work for me pretty well. So the idea would be that we create... you have seen me doing this rover in one of the episodes of Kerbal Engineering, so yeah, just FYI. So right now I'm first finding telescopic pistons because I do want to use them on my rover, but it's now much simpler for me to put them to the correct size, correct alignment and everything before we actually have to put them in the right place. So, okay, let's test it. Certainly looks pretty decent, but I have to lower this one a little bit. Yeah, much better. Okay, so those telescopic pistons would be basically providing us with some stability, because Duna is also a little bit lighter gravity world, so if we are able to extend our wheelbase, then hopefully our car should be, or our rover should be much more stable. Okay, that's the second one, and now let's put the third one. Seems legit. I am gonna go ahead and I'm gonna save that as a sub-assembly. IR telescope piston 025, because it is 1/4. So yes, we no longer need this tank, but we will need to construct a little bit, few more parts. So we need definitely an SAS unit. We do need to extrude our base for the wheelbase a little bit further out. So now I'm just constructing the rover to go along with it. Okay, and 2 forward, 2 back, and now we can put in the telescopic pistons because I think we will need those. Correct. Also define action groups, and let's see if it works. Perfect. Rover, Duna, Scout, Rover Mark 1. Definitely. Okay, and let's put some more cubic octagonal struts, because we will be extending the wheelbase significantly, so we would want to attach that wheelbase to the section which will be extruding, actually. So yeah, we need to be careful about that. Okay, wheels, come on. Front, rear, front, hopefully front, and then hopefully rear. Maybe it will be in the end the other way around. So far it's symmetrical, so we don't need to care about it. Okay, perfect. Then I want to be putting some airbags for the landing, because what happens to me typically when I'm landing, this rover just gets either flipped over or completely destroyed. And that's something that I would very much like to avoid this time. Thank you. So yeah, that's why I'm thinking of these bags. Okay, but regardless of the bags, let us first put the things that we actually need to put on a rover. So I'm thinking of starting with some lights. Let's put first the forward lights, like that. Great. Then let's put the rear lights, and I'm putting the weaker ones because we don't want that much light from the rear. And let's put them to be red, so, mimicking the car look. I know it's only rover, but still, I like to keep appearances. Okay, now we would need an SAS unit, so let's put the 6 to 5 meter one. And I was thinking initially on putting this herp module, but I think I'm gonna go with just the standard command seat instead. Yeah, and I think I flipped it backwards. Okay, yeah, I'll have to turn that the other way around. Okay, but let's put some communitrons, and we always put 2 communitrons, because after all, this rover will be landing as an unmanned probe, which means a remote tech dictates it should basically be 2, one in orbit and another one after the rover has landed, so you basically can queue them. Okay, so the extension works nicely, or not. No, actually it doesn't. As you can see, the forward wheels are not extending as they should, while the rear ones are working correctly. Okay, the lights are working correctly, and the command seat is backwards. Okay, that being said, these things need to be fixed. So let's but in the editor it looks fine, so I don't get it. Anyway, let's throw away this telescopic piston and let's re-put the one from before, and let's reattach this to the top node. I'm at least hoping that this is the top node. Yeah, somewhere along here. Looks kind of good. So now let's do the same on the other side, and I'm not mirroring it because that might have been the initial fault. So I'm just building it from scratch again. Okay. Cubic octagonal strut, it's the king of the structural building, I guess. Okay, so let's now simulate and see how does our rover look like. Okay, looks great, except with one tiny flaw. The wheels aren't the same size, as you can see. I believe that's the problem, that I have two types of wheels. One are the stock and the other one is the pack rat. And I think I have probably put the pack rat by mistake here. So I think I messed it up a little bit. These ones are correct. RoveMax. And I'm just disabling steering on the rear wheels, and here we have the pack rat. Yeah, exactly. So this is the thing that I messed up. Okay, let's fix that quickly. And here we go. Okay, that's fixed. So now that we know that it extends correctly and that the lighting is correct, so let's put the bags, radial airbags, and we will put them both below and above. Just some wonky angles here and there. Let's put them in the action group. And the reasoning is, while we are landing and arriving on Duna, so I want to have these guys inflated so that once actually we land on these bad boys, and then we basically untoggle them or withdraw them, pack them, so that we don't damage our wheels on landing. I don't want to be putting landing legs because we won't be using that, and these kind of bags serve exactly that purpose. The only problem is that they would be a little bit bouncy, so I'm slightly concerned regarding that, but let's see how it will play out. Now I'm putting some surface experiments that we never got the chance to do on Duna, so might as well. Also, we need reflectron antenna, the one that it is unbreakable during the re-entry, and it doesn't break in the atmosphere if you use it. So if both of our antennas get broken during the descent to Duna, I can simply lower the satellite's orbit, and if it's passing below 500 kilometers, I would be able to re-establish connection back to the rover. Two parachutes, radial ones, putting some pre-deployment deployment altitudes and making sure that everything is set correctly. Great. And that being said, we still might want to put some science experiments, and I was first thinking to put antennas, but those are too large antennas. I was even experimenting to put the Communitron 8888, but I don't see that happening. Okay, anyway, we have turned our command seat around, so now it's facing the correct direction. So putting some more science experiments, I think they would be duplicates, but then again, you never know. We might be visiting a biome that we haven't seen before, and we have micro goo capsules as well. I think each of them has like 2 micro mystery goo, so it's 4 in total. Some seismomic meters, gravioli, thermometers. Let's just cram as much science as we can, simply put. Press mat, sure. And I'm putting doubles in case something breaks. And this is the manned one. So, and I was even thinking of putting like a long-range antenna here on top. But yeah, I'm not gonna go with it. Okay. That being said, we need something to deorbit this guy, because after all, you don't want to be lowering the periapsis of the huge interplanetary vessel just so that you can deploy a rover in the atmosphere. That would be just silly. So, and we don't need much delta V. I mean, 178 meters per second. I should be quite fine in terms of deorbiting. So yeah. I've changed the root part to be the bottom tank so that we could easily attach it to the docking port or something else so that it's easier to attach. And then I save the subassembly. So that's our rover, guys. Yeah, here I was thinking, okay, should I put the Communitron on top and have that one instead, like an unmanned version of the rover? But then again, nah, it's not really feasible, so let's just return it. And then I remember that I forgot to put what I like to put for gameplay reasons is the cameras. And since the probe control room has 3 monitors, I like to put 3 cameras in total, facing around 45 degrees separation. And I have seen from experimentation, this actually gives a great field of view if you really want to drive a rover from the actual probe control room. However, since we're playing with signal delay, it wouldn't be possible until the interplanetary craft is in the orbit of Duna, which it will be. So that's why I have decided to put these 3 cameras, and I think it will be fun. Okay, cool. Let's once again put this one as a rover, Duna, Scout, rover, manned, Mark 1. Man, Duna, Scout, rover, description, save it as a subassembly, great. And now it's time to attach this guy to our huge interplanetary craft and all that good stuff. Okay, so let's load up the interplanetary Duna complete. So now the point is to actually, where should we put it? And actually this adapter 2.5 meter to 5 meter just seems ideal place to put 2 rovers, don't you think, guys? I'm also trying to be practical and see how will all these fit when launching this guy into the orbit. So, and I think I'm gonna split it in via the docking ports, but I guess this will be in the episode 2 of this Kerbal engineering for this huge interplanetary vessel. Now I'm just using gizmos to actually put them a little bit further down because, yeah. So let's put the docking port further down rather than us abusing gizmo mechanics. So let's see. Then we want to put the Sepratron inside, sure. And then we put the rovers. Something along these lines. Come on, and yeah. I think that looks good. So now we should, I guess, save it. And let's test it. Start in 200 kilometer orbit just to see how it looks. If it's stable enough, and yeah. So I guess, guys, we are kind of approaching the almost 55 minutes, or which is roughly, or 1 hour, which I had planned for this episode. So after we actually verify that this looks correct and works as it should, I guess we will be calling this for the episode. So let's see if we can just beautify it a little bit, turn on some lights. In cabin and in others, and let us see. It is designated clearly as station, not as a ship. Well, that's something that we'll have to fix manually. It will be a station until it will be a ship until it becomes a station deployed. So I'm just now trying to see how it will look. Let's use the RCS to maneuver. RCS usage, I must say, it's pretty significant. But overall, I'm very happy in terms of what the interplanetary ship looks like, and yeah, I mean, aesthetics. For my designs, I find aesthetics to be extremely important. I don't want to just be putting something for, you know, for putting stake, I guess. So, okay, and let us see if we can take a screenshot. I think I will be probably using that screenshot either for the Interplanetary Voyage Series or for this episode or the next. I have to make up my mind. Anyway, it will be published in my Imager album for the Interplanetary Voyage Series, that I can promise you. Okay, great. That being said, let us just now quickly screenshot, and yeah. So okay guys, I think I'm gonna call this for this episode. Please do like if you like the episode. There will be another one coming where I'm planning to put this in the stage. Until then, thank you very much for watching. This is GrunfWorks signing off.